Hi guys, how we doing? So I thought I would do part two of the Twin Flame talk show. So this is really not always about twin flames. This is about soulmates, this is about twin flames, it's about spirituality. It's about how we can look for a deeper vision and a different set of eyes and things that you may experience along your journey, and hopefully if I can be any kind of assistance or guidance to you in order to find a different path and a different way of looking at things. Okay, so they are going to relate to a lot of different stuff, but they are generally just called Twin Flame Relationship talk show. Okay, but Emily's not here at the moment, she's actually at work. So one thing that I thought I would do, if I can grab your time, is to start to look at high vibration and low, okay, and then passion and how we find our calling and how we answer that, and the things of how you become feminine and masculine, okay, and then how this concludes itself into the relationship when you flip, okay, when you flip over, because you will go from if you're feminine, you will become masculine, and if you're masculine, I'm sure that you would become feminine, okay? But I pretty much know through my journey, through being feminine for 7 years and then meeting my person, that I actually became masculine, okay? So when we look at those kind of things, we look at obviously cycles and stuff like that. Now, a lot of people have seen me use this in the aspect of 1 in 7, and also the steering wheel and the chariot and the tower and everything else, okay? The first house to basically 1 in 7, really. So if that was 6 of a clock and that was 1, that would be 1 in 6, that would be 7 straight through here, which would be your chakras that all run straight through your body. Okay, 8 would be out here, where it would be all of the energy that's consumed outside of the world and outside of life. Sorry, but that's just one of my videos came up for the chat. Basically, first house here, last, and then your bottom half here, okay? So when we draw everything back to a conclusion, we realise, sorry, that this is like 1 in 7. So these are all your light sources that run through here. This is the light, this is the dark energy here. This can be the ego, and this can be your light source that's generated from your third eye. Also from every single chakra that runs through your body. It's pretty much of a cycle of a plate. Okay, so sorry, I was just starting to channel something about man-made, okay, and I was starting to go into the coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. So I have to really be careful that I don't start channeling, because I heard man-made. Okay, so man-made, so made within man and made within all of us, of where we are connected through separation. Now, I don't know if a lot of you see that I was explaining this process in past videos before that I may have deleted, okay? But if you look at particles of energy and particles of analysing oneself within its mind, of data that we use, okay? If you look at God as one energy before he sacrificed himself, okay? Lucifer fell from so above to so below here, okay? So he was cast out from heaven and he was cast so below, okay? Now this really will start to become relevant very soon, okay? So as he was cast out, then God blew himself into billions of different particles, okay? And then actually gave birth to all of us, where God resides within all of us, and so does Lucifer. So that's the ego and also the dark side and the light side, okay? So when he did that, Lucifer here started to run from responsibility and hate humankind, okay, and wanted to do everything that he could in order to try and, well, it was a fight between, obviously, good and evil, okay. But when we look at that, he started to run from responsibility, and as he did, he span the chariot out of control, which was also the wheel of fortune, okay. Now, I would relate a lot to that because I have cancer in Saturn, okay, I forget what house that's in, 9th house, so yeah, 9th house, spirituality house, Cancerian, but also Saturn, okay, so that's some of the times why I start channeling through that, because my spirits are kind of giving me messages as I'm doing it. Okay, so it starts to form things out of control, okay, and then it spins the wheel of fortune out of control, because what we do is we listen to this dark rim, okay, we listen to the dark side of the moon, we listen to the dark side of the ego and the stuff that can happen from below, okay. Now, so above, so below is that when you're up here and you awaken through this little notch in the plate, okay, that's obviously our first house of our karma, but you can also relate it to your crown chakra, okay. So when the energy is blocked here, it has to travel through all of your open chakras, okay, but this can get very difficult, because when you're open, you're also very vulnerable. You're very vulnerable up here, and you're also very vulnerable down here, and this is how difficult that it can get when you get lost in a whole way of mirrors, definitely through twin flame, soulmate, or connections that you have through narcissism, control people, you know, work life and everything else, because it's all consumed within an energy of you, okay? So when this energy is consuming, what it's doing is consuming itself pretty much like a virus. Okay, they still keep getting me to talk about that. No, sorry, but it consumes itself pretty much like a virus. It's data that analyzes itself within its mind. This is where a lot of things within the mind can overcome and overpower a lot of things if you don't give it power to dark energy. If you give thought processes to dark energy, you're giving it power of listening, okay, just like you would spirits of light, okay, we'll go on to this later, but spirits of light listen and also spirits of dark listen too. They're all around, so it depends on what you choose to listen to. If you listen to Twin Flame is doing magic, if someone is doing candles and all this kind of like stuff like that, and they're casting spells, all this kind of stuff, you can overcome that by your mind, which is not give it any attention. Is what we do is when we form union with our soulmates, where it can, requires attention of love, because love and feelings change when you meet someone. It doesn't mean that your feelings and your love changes for the person, it just means that you've become more masculine, okay? Sorry, but I will lose subject if I keep talking. So, generally, so if we go back to the start, okay, when they start to spin out of control, we can listen to the higher side of the mind and the lower side of the mind, okay? So if you physically look at yourself as a human being, which we are, right? But like I said in part one, that we have never died. Our soul is something that is always remained. That's where you have pentacles of 3, okay? It never ceases to exist. It's just locked into place. So you've never deceased, but you've just put it together through connection that is out of your hands, pretty much. That's why the steering wheel becomes out of your hands, okay? So everything is out of your hands and you don't know, and you realize that when I start to listen to the ego, I can start to think and manifest anything of 1 in 7, okay, which is lies, deceit, deception, being difficult to, in order to keep going to and from, okay? Then you can have a tower moment where you have another awakening and things get more difficult, okay? And it gets more difficult, and then you attract in more lessons of also light and dark. You have a rebirth, you have an awakening, you have headaches, all that kind of thing. Your third eye opens, your chakra opens, and you become more and more and more and more towards your calling. You get pulled towards your karmic walk, but you can have so many different awakenings that your path and your patterns of thought will change momentarily, okay? I mean, I would through Pisces and stuff like that, because my energy can shift and morph into different things that I've become over a period of 7 years to get to where I am now, okay? But when we look at that, actually my soulmate that I'm with now is the 7th connection that I've had, okay? So, if any of you are interested in that, it might even relate to your life path numbers, you see. Okay, your life expectancy of your life path number is going to be experiences that you're going to have within that, okay? But generally, okay, you start to go left and forward, left and back, you can worry about deceit, okay, but you bump into different situations in life altogether. So even though you're a life path number 7 or not, you would still relate to everybody of being 7, because everybody is within your 1st house of astrology and your 7th house of your relationship, of when you go to work, okay, and when you live, you cook, you clean, you think, you analyse your situations of illusion, your choices in life, and going backwards and forwards. It can be very difficult when you're on your spiritual journey, okay? But as you go left and right, what we realise is that most of the time that we can think from a very low dark energy, okay? So if you look at yourself as a physical human being, that you can't never go any further down from Earth than what we are. I'm standing on this floor, but I can't physically go any further down than what I am, but my ego can and my energy levels can. When your energy level does and your ego does, that's where you start to listen to all of that kind of stuff through ego and through mirrors, and you get lost definitely when you're in union with your twin flame. I've got to put this out to people as well. If you think that twin flames in union is the easiest ride ever, it's not. Getting there is very difficult, but when you're also in it, it takes on a whole new ball game of a whole new cycle, okay? So when you look that you can't go any further down than what you are, when your mind sinks to a level of depression and that you're overexhausted and stuff like that, and that you've started to chase everything, which is generally your calling, okay? The only thing that I can't crack is YouTube, okay? But because that's a different analyst within itself. Okay, but data, thank you. Sorry, they want me to go back on data. Sorry if I overspeak, but I channel also when I start to speak, and I have no idea. I don't cut these videos off, I just start to speak. Okay, but you analyze data at a low vibration. Okay, so our brains are like a computer. Okay, and that we start to empty trash throughout the whole day, just like you would on a PC. Okay, and you dump it into your hard drive that you can't see. Your hard drive still compares to a load of different analysts of vibrations, of particles, of numbers and figures that it has to analyze itself, where it still keeps you to burn out. Okay, when you burn out, that's because you've done too much chasing in life. It doesn't mean a physical person, because everything that was man-made, okay, everything that was man-made is still a particle of energy of coding. Okay, coding can come in so many different forms, where you're actually chasing a tarot card channel. You're trying to chase your calling. Majority of the time it comes down to chasing money, which is still an energy that was grown from a tree of the tower. Okay, and then we chop it down, and then what do? We make money out of it, and then we buy a packet of seeds in order to grow another. So it's still rebirth, and it's still the root of all evil. Okay, it's still something that people chase, of where we will then go on to different stuff, Steve, when we get back onto our timeline of talking about low ego and high ego. Okay, so we'll go into money and things like that, but because it's still a pentacle, right? But from a low vibration, you can't go down any further than what you are. So when your ego and your mind sinks low to that factor, you can start to overanalyze and disintegrate your own calling. Okay, you can start to feel like you need to give up, because your root chakra is out of balance as well. If your root chakra is out of balance, you can have fear, anxiety, panic attacks, dreams, lack of sleep, loads of sleep, too much sleep. Okay, you fear people, you know, because when you're at a high vibration, what's the first thing that you do when you're at a high vibration? Hi, right? You say hi, you know, because you're feeling good and you're actually at a high vibration, you actually say hi to people. Okay, so when you're at a low vibration, you pretty much say hody hody ho, right? So hody hody hi, hody hody ho. We're not in a holiday camp, we're just physically trying to fight our way through dark and light energies. So that when we come back to that, when we're at a low vibration, our minds can start to analyze so much data that we have to do within our day-to-day life of 1 and 7. So we sink low. Now, when we lose our passion of what we're created for, we are created to actually find creation of sparks of interest, okay, through passion, through painting, through talking, through teaching, through music, through designing, through how-to videos, through how do people want information. There are so many people out there that want and need information that generally it doesn't always come from tarot card readings. It comes from the mind of what you know, that you can help other people on their journey, because what they really want is information in order to feed their desire. Okay, your desire is still that, your wheel of fortune. Never forget, your 1 in 7 is still your wheel of fortune. Okay, always still. So your passion and your creation and your analyzing the data that you are designed for, okay, when you lose that design is when you lose your own self, because your design is momentarily yours. It's something that you create of a passion that you would do for free and you would do for nothing. Now, there has to be an equilibrium of money earned through an exchange. Fair enough, I know that, okay? But still, when you're doing these kind of things, it's something that you would do where you would feel so relaxed for, and that you would just love to do that kind of thing because it would come naturally to you. And how we would then start to, through that energy level, where you can start to see the good and the light of day, to actually use that as your gift. Because you can use your gift at a low vibration when people start to analyze too much stuff that's gone on through their day, through stress and worry about money and bills and the love. And like, if somebody really wants someone, you know, I know that can be very difficult when you're going through twin flame soulmate energies, but you can force yourself upon one energy, not even by doing anything. You know, if you watch a tarot card reading or anything like that, and they're saying stop offering to this person, stop offering to this person, you can still offer that to that person energetically just by your mind. you know, your mind can create a lot of things still, because you would still think, well, I don't even know whether I am or I'm not. But you're energetically thinking about that person, okay? Now, I'm no way to say that that's your fault, because you're contracted to do that, because your mind needs to expand and open. And that's how you learn about society, and how you would learn about energy and how powerful that you can be. So the energy substance is your transmission of your radios, of tweaking your transmission of desire, of your energy levels that go out. Okay, what you put out, you get back, and we've heard that plenty of times before within spiritual community channels. Okay, so it's still a channel. It's still a channel from one to one to one to one. Okay, that's why you have a peer group one-to-one session with someone that you can trust. Okay, which is why we give ourselves over as a trust for a personal tarot card reading or a Skype call. Okay, but the energy, even by thoughts, is, if you can imagine that when you're thinking about a person of such hatred or such love, but they're not offering back to you, just imagine the amount of things that you can do with that, all told, apart from just a person. Okay, because you can't crack their coding. You can't crack their conditioning, because if you can imagine, before you're a professional analyst, and you'll never become professional, but when you have absorb so much data and you become like more professional at analysing data and seeing the woods from the trees, before you get to that stage of where you would go through stages of separation, you go through stages of like getting to your calling, on those journeys is when that goes from one to another, and you can't crack through this code, which is conditioning of someone's mind. You can't get through all of their energy levels that's consumed within their light source of being blocked, okay, because it pretty much springs it back out and goes to the other person to tell them to do one, okay, or tell them that you really want them. But if they really are contracted at that time to not want you because they're focused in this direction, okay, this is where you get chasing and running, okay, because it's supposed to happen for your mind to be focused outwardly for you to awaken. You can't awaken downward, well, you can, but generally you awaken outwardly, okay, from your third eye goes out of all your energy levels, okay. So if you imagine all of that, I keep hearing Imagine Dragons. That was something that my soulmate was talking about, Imagine Dragons. That was on her iPod. I've got a story for that one later at another date, but I'm sure me and Emily will tell you about that one. But imagine dragons, right? Imagine the fire that's within you that can go outwardly towards substances that can attract itself to your light and dark energies. Thank you, Spirit. We're getting back to contractual stuff that we're supposed to be talking about. So when you're here, okay, up here, you would say hi, okay, and you will attract in so many different things within your high vibration that you will meet loads of different people because you're supposed to, okay. So you really start to manifest your true self of your calling of where you are, okay. But then throughout the whole day, you can become very depressed and start to block yourself off here and then start to think from here, okay. So that's the ego. That's where the devil resides. The devil never, ever, ever showed his face anywhere, and neither did God. Okay, never showed their face. It's just either can be a myth, it's a religion, it's a book, it's well known. Okay, it's everything else but something that we have physically been able to see ourselves on this present timeline of where we all are now. We pretty much know a lot of things to be true of what we hear and what we say and what we speak of. But physically, when it comes down to our sight and our vision of these eyes, we never really know whether it's true. And that's where it can come down to karmic illusion of religion or faith. Okay. So, yeah, I've got no idea where I come out of all this stuff. I have no script. But it's a script that I read from, just like now. That can lead me on to another thing of talking about the Akashic Records that I will do at another time for you. But that's where you connect, you see. You connect through your Sanskrit. Your Sanskrits of connecting with 1 to 2 to 3 connects to everybody, okay? Interconnection and intergalactic ways of analysing so much data of how to use it as your calling and your gift and your passion, okay? Your passion and your creation is something that you are designed for, okay? And because you are designed for that, the universe will provide efficiently for you as the time they see fit for when you need it, okay? If you need too much and you have too much and you need too much, then more than likely you're pushing it and chasing it, okay? It can get very difficult within your mind, okay? That's where you can get very frustrated. when you're very frustrated, you're not going to think clearly, and you're more than likely not going to have those good ideas that are going to spark off, where people that need to find you will find you at that time, but they will find you at another time still when they're supposed to. Okay, you relate this to YouTube, to anything, to anybody or anything. It's literally still just one source. It's when you have to take a break and a breather, and you have to start to recuperate and regenerate your mind cell. Your mind cell is generation of something that spreads just like what a virus does, of what a computer can. And also why I had people stealing my stuff and putting it on their channel, and keep doing it. And the same person still, this person, I'm not going to give out their name, okay, but I'll give you a part of something that what still a virus can do, is a person can make so many different channels, okay, and this one person normally sends me a message and says, great reading, I really enjoyed it. Great video, keep up the good work. Great reading, keep up the good work. And it's the same person, but as a different name and a different picture, that's been stealing my stuff. You know, work that one out. So it's a computer that does that, but it's still a person behind it. Okay, but they just don't never show their face, like the devil. Okay, not God. Like someone would take your energy. They want to take your calling because they see it and they want to benefit from that. Okay, instead of being able to give it back in a natural way of finding their own. So they want to take. So again, give and take, natural equality. So are you a Gemini, stealer? I'm only kidding, Geminis, if you're a Gemini, right. Okay, but equality. Okay, so going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Me, I've got a Gemini moon. Okay, so I'm sorry if I offended any of you. I'm really not. Okay, but I probably psychically just guessed this person that has been taking my stuff. So backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards of what we do through lies and deceit, of people wanting our energy. Okay, you bump into one as you bump into another, and as you bump into that, you physically lose yourself, and then you go down here, and then you start to overanalyze more, and that's where you hit the Seven of Cups, of 1 of 7, of lost in space and illusion. Okay, of deception, of lies, deceit. But what we do is we learn to gain back our own trust by using our mind of the higher mind, by recuperation of cells within the mind. When we just stop for a second of watching computers and data and analyzing so much situations in life that generally forms around love. When we realize that we can't have love, okay, general looking at day-to-day stuff, for me, I study a lot of things, and I love that keeps me burning alive. You know, me studying and you studying is something that will keep the relationship alive, because another energy of what we need to still draw back to a conclusion, okay, is that when you are feminine, you become a masculine, okay? So you've gone through loads of periods, so you can't ever blame, say you're down here, right, you start off as a feminine, say, for instance, okay? And at this point, you can blame a masculine for being masculine and blah, 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 blah. But how that flips is that if that situation of a karmic stuff ends, okay, person, but I say stuff as in matter of energy of soul, but you go through here, okay, and then you go through here, and you go for another one, another one, another one, okay. By the time you get to your designated person and you're masculine, okay, when you meet a feminine, say for instance, but I don't want to get mixed up with feminine, masculine, but when you meet your person, okay, your other person can then blame you for being masculine when all this long ago you were actually feminine, okay. So you can't, right? But you can't deny the person that you are and go from here to here, and then another person blames you for what you're not when you were here, you see. You cross over timelines of your soul. That's your timeline, you see. Your timeline is something that's created momentarily, of something that never ceases to persist, because it's just constant. You will be one energy of matter here, but you'll have a different matter of energy here, and a substance that can't be broke through your conditioning. So your conditioning here was weak as what we knew, okay, still strong, but still weak to conditioning of awakenings. And then here you become that much awoke that your conditioning then has took on a whole new belief. That's why your belief changes. That's why your tarot card readings will change. That's why you can start to channel. You can start to do more. You know, you'll never get to what you're supposed to get or be until you're supposed to get it or be it, and realize about force of energy and force of nature. Okay, so the force of nature is something that can't be cracked. Okay, okay? Just like your conditioning of another person that you meet that would more than likely be feminine, that would start to overanalyze the situation of you being too masculine and focusing on your calling, okay? That can happen in relationship and definitely within twin flame relationship, because that would be you then becoming a teacher, okay? Being a teacher can also be very strict and very stern of what teachers are, because they've become that and they've took on so much data and they've learned so much stuff that they have a way of doing certain things, okay? And because they do, when you take a step back here and you're in a relationship, okay, because you're so focused on the person that you are, this person can see you in a different light of what you was before. I hope I haven't lost you, right? But they can see you as a different light because you're so dedicated and you're so focused on being the person that you can't avoid, which is the person that you are always. You can become something different, sure, but in the time that you're supposed to, and that's where you start to fight Saturn, and you'll get pulled into a game of throwing a fishing rod over a big, you see the size of Saturn. As soon as you try to fight and put your dukes up, this will just pull you straight in, and you go back into a karmic cycle again of learning the same lesson around that you can't fight the person that you are. We're just going to make you the person that you are, and then another person will probably fight you because you're different than what you used to be. So generally, what we're going to relate this to a lot is generally the information that can lead to a lot of your spiritual stuff that can also happen through twin flame relationship. But at a later date, we'll do part 3, and then we'll start to look into different aspects of what we can talk about. Okay. So if you would like any of your personal readings, if you like a personal tarot card reading or a personal Skype call to talk to me about any kind of information where I can help you analyse the situation to see where your blocks are within your subconscious memory, and see if we can do any kind of like work or tweak on the transmission or to get things up and running again. Okay, if you want those kind of calls, you can reach out to me hopefully below. But if you can't find it below this video, you can find it on any of the tarot readings or any of the videos that I really do. They're mainly in the tarot card readings that you can find a link to the description for Patron and things like that. You can also reach out for tarot card readings. You can also watch the tarot card readings. But there's so much on the channel. Okay, guys, so I really do hope for your support to take a look at the channel messages that you get through your readings as well, okay? And all your support and anything that you can do to like, share and subscribe, all that kind of stuff is very much appreciated, guys. I really do appreciate your time and the value that you offer to me, to this channel, in order for me to help. Okay. All right, guys. I will catch you soon.